We're back. Steve Sampson, Christine Ortiz, Veterans of Politics. We have Christine DeCorte, candidate for Nevada State Assembly District 18. Christine, how you doing today?
I'm wonderful, Steve. Thanks for having me. I love your new digs.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, isn't it?
I love them. They're
little chandeliers and everything. Then if we want a cold one, we could just go right over there to the bar. Tell us a little bit about you.
Let's see, I've been in Nevada almost 40 years. I'm a I'm a naturalized citizen born in England.
Yeah.
So I'm a legal alien, and I'm very proud to be an American. Been married for about 30 years. I have 2 very successful young adult children. Career-wise, basically I studied gemology with the Gemological Institute of America. I learned to grade diamonds and gemstones. Worked for Bailey Banks and Biddle Jewelers. My love of traveling took me into the airline industry, where I was actually a flight attendant for many years, traveling all over the world. I really love that. And getting back, I wanted to do something a little bit more cerebral, so I got into banking, and I was with Valley Bank of Nevada, training to be their operations manager, and I realized I didn't like the structure, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, I didn't like the banking industry. So when I got out of that, I got my insurance license, had my own agency with 23 agents, won all kinds of top awards, took my husband all over the world as a top producer, and then after that, I graduated into the securities industry with my securities license, and I've made a very good living doing that. So I kind of got my business to where it's push-button automatic, and my business partner's doing a lot, taking a lot off my plate for me, and so you know what happens when you create a vacuum in the universe, something kind of jumps into it. I've been so involved politically for 30 years, working on so many campaigns and you know that, Steve, and for so many different people, that I decided that I'm ready to do this myself, and mainly as a business owner, because I had, when you're with the securities industry and with the insurance industry, all of the fees and the licensing and the continuing ed and all the it's expensive just to open your doors. So basically, when I heard they're going to start taxing business owners, was what made me angry enough to say I'm going to get in here and do something myself.
Yeah, I just got my resident agent sent me the corporate charter for my company, and business license for Nevada alone. That's $500 deal.
It's outrageous. Yeah.
And doesn't even include the annual list of officers and the corporate charter and all that crap. Yep. So. Why you wanna run? I mean, why do this? I mean, it don't pay much.
It doesn't, and so obviously I'm not doing it for the money. So I'm at a place in my life.
So you're doing it for the aggravation.
I am.
You don't get enough of that at home, or what?
Well, you know that. I do, but no, I just I love people. That was my thing when I was a flight attendant. When all the other gals would go back after they did the service, they'd go back and read a magazine. I was out there talking to all the different people. I love people. I get involved in their problems and their concerns and what's going on in the world. I read the news, and it's not just enough to read the news. I research the news, because now I've learned that the media is not something you can trust. So I've
really?
Unless it's us, unless you're talking to us.
Yeah, unless it's us. Then
there you
trust
go. Actually, I got to tell you, I learned how to not trust the media. I was when I was a flight attendant, I was yachting the Italian Riviera, and these people that were on the yacht, friends of the person that owned the yacht, they said they were talking political things with me, and because I was always a political junkie, and I said to them, no, you don't know, that's not how it is, this is how it is, and I'm from America, and we don't have propaganda, you guys all have propaganda. And thankfully they didn't look at me as the ugly American that had this attitude that was wrong. And
but you're British.
Well, yeah. So the one gentleman that was on the yacht. He was a Italian banker, and he said, "Listen," he goes, "before I got on the yacht today, he goes, I've been in 7 countries." Because they travel so much. He goes, I've read, and I speak 7 languages, and I've read 7 newspapers, and this is how Sweden looks at this particular incident that you're talking to us about, and this is how Italy looks at it, and this is how France looks at it, and all of a sudden I was very humbled. And when we ported in Monte Carlo, he had a car pick us up, drove us to a newsstand, and picked up a magazine article. I don't think this it was called The World back then, but now I read The Week, which shows you the point of view from from many different angles and from how all the other countries see it.
Right.
And I realized that I was humbled, and I realized that I was very ignorant. And I'm going 30 years ago. I was very ignorant then because I really thought we didn't have propaganda here. And this particular gentleman said to me, "You're surrounded by ocean. All you got is propaganda." That is what you have over there. And I thought, wow. And once you can take those blinders off, you can start seeing what the media does and how we are so manipulated by the media.
Yeah.
I've been waiting to ask somebody from Britain this question for like 3 weeks. So
She's Irish, so watch out.
I don't even know if I like y'all yet.
Don't hurt me.
We do it sneakily. We just blow you guys up later. It's all good. Send your dukes out. No, my question is, Las Vegas is the tourist city, one of the tourist capitals of the world. Britain just left. How is that going to affect their economy and in turn affect us? On our side, we may be thinking, hey, awesome for them. They took back their country. And that's definitely my mindset. But what's going on over there and going with us forward? Because we get some really amazing European tourists here in Las Vegas.
Well, our dollar is getting stronger over there, and it's interesting.
We're talking U.S. dollars, right?
Yeah. But I've got cousins that I keep in touch with all on Facebook, and I've got one set of cousins that were against, getting out of the EU, and then another set that were all for it. Mm-hmm. So I've kind of been listening to both sides, and because it wasn't up to me to vote on it, I didn't really come to a conclusion of what I thought was the best way to go. But I heard a recent YouTube that just it was very interesting, and it talked about all the debt that Italy is in, Greece is in, all the countries that are in the European Union, and they have no way of paying it back. Mm-hmm. So it really was an interesting YouTube saying, what is it yes, you've got so many more people buying your products in the EU, you've got so much more customer base, but it is bankrupt pretty much as far as financially goes. It's not doing well.
Why did the Prime Minister leave, since we're talking about England?
Because he was on the opposite side of the fence. But I heard the Queen was really happy with his decision. So I don't know if you're into the monarchy.
She's all that matters in the monarchy, right? We don't care about the Prime Minister. We only care about the Queen.
That's right.
No. But I just really wanted to point that out because, we get awesome. Prince Harry likes to come out here and
you got caught on video.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Definitely the European dollars are spent well here, and I, wanted to know what that's like going forward, especially with you being an assembly district candidate. I know that's got to be a concern this tourist season and coming up.
But I see everything as whenever you have influx, and you'll notice it especially in the stock market and having made a living with in the securities industry, whenever you see influx over one side and then influx over this side, to me it's kind of how it breathes and how it regulates itself and how it has a natural rhythm. Even when people talk about global warming, I think that's how Mother Nature heals itself. I think all of these things are important. When 1 minute we've got a Republican advantage and then we have a Democratic advantage, it kind of cleans up a lot of the muck that's going on. Mm-hmm. And so when I look at it that way, I think that we've got it's a good thing. And yet, and it's been back and forth before. I remember the first time I went to Italy 30 years ago. I mean, I was amazed. I mean, I bought python shoes, matching belt, matching purse. I mean, I was shopping $30 because the dollar was so strong. That was 30 years ago. So you're gonna, and now you go there, and I was there in September, and it's not like that. So you constantly have that influx, and I think that influx is what does heal and get us back to a norm.
So speaking of influx and needing to heal, what about Las Vegas as a whole, and how do we need a change? Because I feel like we've been stuck in a muck as a city for a while. And
well, we've not pulled out of. We've been one of the worst states as far as pulling out of a housing slump. Mm-hmm. I personally lived in Green Valley before I moved to the district. I mean, the district that I'm in now. I've been there for 2 years. Prior to that, I lived in Green Valley for 22 years as a homeowner. At one point, my house was worth well over $500,000. Yeah, but lost just about all of it. I mean, when we sold it, we were lucky to get out from under it after living there for 20 some odd years. And I had looked at that as being part of my retirement, being, the nest egg a little bit. And it wasn't just about. But we didn't have a second, but we did borrow against it at one point because of 2 kids in college, 2 kids in braces, and the whole 9 yards. You don't know that yet, but you're going to see that.
I'll look at it there.
Yeah. But unfortunately, my daughter was just scholarship. She was a little brainiac. But we were able to, and when we moved to the house in Green Valley, we moved there because we researched which were the best schools, and at the time it was Green Valley High School, which was voted one of the 25 top schools in the nation.
Wow.
So we bought the house, and the kids went to the school right there, David Cox, and they went to Green Spun Junior High, and then they went to Green Valley High. And Green Valley High at the time had the International Baccalaureate program, or the IB program, which was the highest course of study, higher than AP and honors. So my daughter actually was one of about 10 people that graduated in the black robe. And my son graduated with honors from Green Valley, not quite as good as his sister, but he graduated in the black robes, which was only a couple of rows of kids, and then everybody else was in the green and blue.
Right.
So you really, as a parent, you got to be hands-on, but public schools can work if you research the schools, if you know the principal, and you go to all of the school meetings, and you're really a part of it. They can work.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about BDRs. And there's going to be one to strengthen Veterans Court. I like to see one up there that talks about elected offices instead of appointed offices for city attorneys and public defenders. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's a difficult one. But I look at a lot of the. Well, I like elected positions, but when you look at, especially our judgeships, when you're being elected, you've got to raise money, and when you raise money, you're kind of beholding a little bit. Okay, and I don't like to think of our judges being beholding. But I do like the fact that we, the people, get to make decisions.
Right.
I do like that. And I've always been a strong proponent for veterans. I mean, I've got a lot of clients that I meet them at the Leatherneck Club. Yeah, all the time. Yeah, they got a really great little menu. Their food is really quite good there. So Len and I will meet people for lunch there. I've got a lot of Marines are my clients. As a matter of fact, right now all of my yard signs are mainly in the Marines' yards.
Wow.
That I know over there. So, and being from Britain, it was the soldier that saved us.
Right.
So, and I grew up with stories about World War II from my parents. I mean, they grew up in war-torn London, and when I went back the first time, back in the late 60s, I saw the still bombed out London ruins. So, I am all for everything that's veteran. I think we can't do enough for them. And
so you're for strengthening the Veterans Court?
Absolutely.
What about my second question about the making the city attorney's position, like in North Las Vegas, there's a Sandra Morgan, familiar? In Henderson, there's Josh Reed, and you know how he got that job, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about politics and being beholden to people.
No, you're absolutely right.
And then there in Las Vegas, there's Brad Jerbick. So would you consider making the city attorney's office an elected office, just like district attorney's office?
You know what? Normally, I would say no, but yes, absolutely, because of the corruption in government today. Does that, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But in a perfect world, I like appointments. I like if the offices that we trust, the Supreme Court, let them appoint certain people. But no, the corruption goes all the way to the top, and when the corruption is that rampant, I think that we, the people, need to make those choices.
Oh, I got another one for you.
Okay.
Let's just move on, since
Okay.
we're talking about corruption. I want to talk a little bit about nepotism.
Okay.
Do you think that a husband and wife should be on the same 8 judicial district court bench? I could understand maybe a distant cousin.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, no, I don't think that's good at all. No.
Because they make internal policy that represents the whole entire courthouse. And I know if I was on a bench with my wife, I'm not going to vote against her because I got to sleep with her at
Absolutely, you want to anyway.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, and going back to boards that I've been on, and even I was on my church board for many, many years, we couldn't have a husband and wife on the church board. So, and for those same reasons, so absolutely not.
So would you support a bill, a BDR, for people that don't know what that means, it's a bill draft request. Would you support a BDR that would abolish husbands and wives and brothers and immediate family members to be in the same seat? That also includes the assembly and city council and anything like that. Immediate family members to be in the same seat.
I think I would not support that now, but here again, going back to another thing, I got a C rating with the NRA. I am all about Second Amendment rights. And the reason was I answered everything very pro-gun rights, but they had a couple of questions on there saying, would you support legislation that does this, this, and this? And then this happens. How would you feel? And then if this happened, there's just all these variables. And so I ended up having to say I would have to read that particular bill and answer it with the times that we're in today. And that would be my answer. So because I didn't give them a yes or no answer, they gave me a C rating. So it's hard to say yes without reading the actual bill. But in its scope and what you're saying, Steve, no, I don't like that at all. I don't like the idea of having family there.
Well, NRA gave me a C too, so don't feel bad.
Wow. Then I feel I'm really in good company. No, truly, I know that you are very much Second Amendment right. So now I feel like I'm in good company. Thank you. That's very...
And don't forget I dropped my gun.
I know. Well, when you asked your guest before if he has a concealed one permit, I wanted to say, well, you have enough for both of us, Steve.
Christine?
No, I really do hope, in terms of education, I guess my big thing is, this assembly cycle, we're looking at breaking up Clark County. And to me, that just seems even more detrimental than we are already in. And how do you feel about that?
I have always said that our school district is too huge of a conglomerate. Always said. And I feel that when it gets that big, you have corruption. Many years ago, I was working with a gentleman that was selling a lot of the TSAs to the teachers there, and I felt that it wasn't that good of a plan, and I realized that nobody else could get in because he had the deal.
Controlled it.
Absolutely. And at that point, I was blown away with how, and that's when I started to notice how large it was and the corruption.
Well, Christine DeCorte, thank you so much for coming on the program. Could you let the listeners know why District 18 should go and vote for you and your point of contact?
I care about it. When I left Green Valley and moved into District 18, I realized just Boulder Highway runs right through my district, and there's constantly pedestrians being hit. And I thought, if that was the strip, that wouldn't happen. Life is cheap in District 18, and that's wrong. That is wrong. So that was one of, and also when the Fremont Street experience started, we got the Boulder Highway experience because a lot of prostitution came down to Boulder Highway. You're seeing them walking up and down Boulder Highway. So
quite reasonable too.
Only you would know that, Steve. Only you.
Oh, you gotta love this guy.
Good.
And so I just feel that leaving Green Valley, and the first time I went to the Walmart right there on Boulder Highway, you have to show your receipt when you leave, and I was never used to that. So I'm walking out, and they go, "Ma'am, give me your receipt." And I showed him my receipt, and I said, "I'm sorry, you never had to do this in Green Valley." And some guy behind me goes, "You're not in Green Valley anymore, princess." And I realized, oh my gosh, and he was right. And so I think that I care about people, I love people, and I want to do what's best.
What's point of contact?
Yes, you can call me. My website is Christine DeCorte, and my phone number is 771-9282, because I don't call that too much. But please, anybody out there, if you want to give me a call, if you want to chat and talk about what I can do, I'd love your input. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christine. That's Christine DeCorte, the Assembly candidate for District number 18. This is Steve Sampson, Christina Ortiz, we're veterans in politics. Until next week, and we might come back to this beautiful Thunderbird Hotel Lounge.